In today's real estate exam prep video, we're going to continue our series on key important real estate terms that you have to know for your real estate exam, and we're going to do numbers 43 through 48 of 300. And we're starting right now. Hey everyone, my name is Paul Vojchehoske and welcome to the Real Estate Classroom YouTube channel, where our mission is simple, and that's to help you pass your real estate exam the first time. And a key way to do that is to know, understand, and know how to apply key real estate vocabulary terms. It's really all about the terms and the phrases here. Okay, and we're going to do 43 through 48 in this video. And these particular terms evolve around the rights of the government and the rights that they have over an individual's real property. This is so important to understand. In 1776, July 5th, 1776, we threw the British out of the colonies. We implemented the Allodial System of property ownership, which meant that you have the bundle of rights. You had you own your piece of property. In fact, on July 5th, 1776, you could shoot and kill somebody that was trespassing on your property, and you could do it legally. Now, since July 5th, 1776 to present, there's been a lot of restrictions placed on individual owners' property rights. We still have the bundle of rights, but there is an asterisk, meaning there are restrictions to how far those rights go. And there are the ones we're going to discuss today, the keywords we're going to discuss today evolve around those exceptions and those restrictions. And the first one is number 43 of 300. It's called the ad valorem tax. Ad valorem tax literally means in Latin, according to value. This is where the government has the right to place property tax levies against your real property. And if you don't pay those taxes, then you lose your ownership to that property. They will foreclose on the property or sell it off at a tax auction or however the jurisdiction does that. Ad valorem tax is property taxes levied on real estate, okay? One of the methods that they do that is called the mill levy system, which is number 44 of 300. It is a tax rate system, and it's applied to the assessed value of the property. So your assessed value of the property is X. The jurisdiction is going to tax you at a certain percentage or a certain rate of that assessed value. If you want to know how this actually works structurally, I already did a video on a couple of the different methods of assessing property taxes against real property. I'm going to leave a link right up here in the upper right-hand corner if you want to check that out. I think it's a great video to illustrate what I'm talking about here. Now, 1 mil is equal to $1 per $1,000 of assessed value. In numeric terms, that's displayed as decimal 001. And again, check out the video, the link that I have up here in the right-hand corner of your screen, and it'll show you how to use the mill levy system to calculate property taxes. Now, number 45 of 300 is a special assessment. A special assessment is a lien that is placed against the property to pay for improvements such as sidewalks, streets, sewers, street lights, those type of things. Now, let me give you a couple of common examples of where we see special assessments. So let's say a subdivider is, a developer is going in and creating a subdivision, a brand new subdivision with 500 lots where there's going to be 500 new homes. So the city's going to come in and they're going to put in or install the streets, the street lights, the sewer lines, etc. The city's paying for it, but the city's going to get reimbursed. So what's going to happen is there's going to be a special assessment that's levied against each one of those 500 lots in that new subdivision. And as those lots are sold off, then the owner is going to have to pay that special assessment to reimburse the city or that local government jurisdiction that paid for the streets to be put in. They're reimbursing. That's their method of reimbursement. In the private sector, we also see this where maybe a developer pays for all of those streets and sidewalks and so on and so forth, and then they will put a special assessment lien against the property, so when it's sold off, they get reimbursed. Okay, another common way that I see special assessments used by local governments. Give you an example. Here in Omaha, Nebraska, where I live, we have many substandard streets. So many of the streets that are in Omaha are not up to code. And so let's say that there's a 1 block area that needs to be brought up to standard. So the city of Omaha is going to go in and they're going to pay for pavement or repaving it, putting in sidewalks, whatever the case may be. Let's say there is 20 homes that border that street that was upgraded. The city's going to go in and place a $5,000 special assessment against each one of those 20 homes that live along that or border that street that was put in. The property owner is either going to have to pay that $5,000, or when that property is sold, then that lien needs to be paid and the city of Omaha gets reimbursed for the cost of putting in that street. Those are the two most common ways that I see special assessments used. There are other ways, but those are the two most common. Number 46 of 300 is eminent domain. Now, eminent domain is a legal right of the government to take an individual person's real property. Now, when they take that real property, it has to be for the general welfare, safety, and benefit of the general public. For example, the federal government might take someone's property for a military base or to build an interstate. The state may come in and take someone's property to have a state park. Local governments, such as the school districts, they may go and take someone's real property to build a new school, or the city may do it to enhance or improve the economic basis of the local community. Those are all examples of eminent domain and why eminent domain is used. Now, there's a couple of things you have to remember with eminent domain. Number one, the property owner has a right to their day in court. They have a right to due process. And what they're going to do is challenge that governmental entity's reason for needing their property. And quite frankly, the property owner is almost always going to lose. Typically, where I see the challenge is in the market value, because compensation is a key component to eminent domain. The school district has to give that property owner fair market value. The federal government has to pay the property owner fair market value. That is almost always the basis of any lawsuit challenging eminent domain. It's about the money, not so much the government's right to come in and take the property. So a couple of things, remember. Number one, the property owner has a right to due process. They have title passes. Title will pass from the private owner to the government. And then compensation. Under the Constitution, the government must pay you fair market value or fair compensation for the value of that land. Now, number 47 of 300 is a doctrine called escheat. There's a root word in escheat, and it's called cheat, C-H-E-A-T, where the government is going to cheat someone out of their property. Now, there are two ways that escheat is used. The first one is where someone dies intestate. Now, intestate is a key real estate term that you have to know, and it means that someone has died without a will. And when somebody dies without a will, they're not giving their property to somebody. The second part is they died without a will and there's no heirs. So this person that died, there's no one to give this property to. There's no one to give this deceased person's estate to. So it's a legal mechanism for the government to come in and tie up that decedent's estate. Now, is it the local government, such as the county, the city, the state? That's all going to be determined by state statute in that particular state that you're living. But the key to remember under escheat is title to the property passes to the government, and then it's going to be liquidated. Their stocks, their bonds, their portfolios, all going to be liquidated, and then according to state statute, it will be dispensed with in whatever way the statute calls for. Now, the second way that we used escheat is where we have an abandoned piece of property. So maybe there is a property on 10th and Main Street. The owner has abandoned it. Maybe the owner lives in a different state. It is now a crack house. It's being used for prostitution. It's a public nuisance to the local area. It's a mechanism for the local government to come in and dispense with that nuisance. Now, under escheat, whether it's the person's estate reverting to the sovereign because they died intestate or because it's an abandonment situation, in both cases, title passes to the government and no compensation is provided in any way. Now, one thing I want you to remember, whether it's eminent domain or under escheat, there's a key real estate term that I do not have on the PowerPoint, but I'm going to put on your screen because you have to know it. And under eminent domain and escheat, The government is going to use a legal process to obtain title to the property known as the condemnation process. They're going to actually condemn the property, and that's the legal process that they're going to use to obtain title under a sheet in eminent domain. Number 48 of 300 is police powers. Police powers is the powers bestowed to a government body, whether it's local, state, or federal. And it's a way for the government to impose rules and restrictions on the property that you own. And again, those rules and restrictions have to benefit the general public. When we think of this, we think of things like building codes, zoning laws, environmental laws. Those are all examples of where a government entity has placed restrictions on someone's private property. And it's important to remember that title does not pass under police powers and no compensation is given to the property owner. You got to comply with the zoning laws. You have to comply with local building codes. Otherwise, there's punitive measures available to the government to impose upon you. But again, no compensation, title doesn't pass. And examples of police powers, again, is building codes, environmental laws, zoning laws, etc. If you want to continue studying vocabulary words, check out this video right here. Comments and questions down below. And don't forget, if you have not subscribed, click the little circle to my left. I would appreciate it. That's it. See you in the next video.